Oh crap. What's up? This is Gardetrace, Dragon Ball Super Episode 66. You done fucked up. It started off well enough, you know. It had some nice animation to the fight scenes and whatnot. But they just had to fuck with the rules of things, didn't they? First of all, the Potara retcon. So, all of a sudden, the Potara earring fusion is temporary? That's not what Dragon Ball Z told us. They told us that shit was permanent.
The power of the earrings has no time limit. It lasts forever. Once joined, you can never return to your original body.
You mean I'm stuck this way?
And you would think that the Elder Supreme Kai would know what the fuck he's talking about. But for the sake of this, right now, Gowasu announces that the Potara fusion is only permanent when it's used by Kais. When it's used by humans, or any non-Kai, it only lasts an hour. No. You're saying that what the Elder Kaioshin mentioned before meant absolutely nothing, that we have the stipulation where the earrings are temporary, their fusion's temporary on non-Kais. So what you're telling me is that back during the Majin Buu saga, when Vegito was handing Super Buu his ass, you mean to tell me that, and that was going on for a whole hour? No. This way. The reason Vegito split was due to the harsh effects within Buu's body, because Vegito allowed himself to get absorbed by Buu. But one thing you saw is when he was getting absorbed, he put a shield around himself so he wouldn't be integrated within Buu's body. And then once he dropped the shield, they split apart. Which, you know, it makes sense considering Buu is a magical creature, and that would probably have some sort of effect, you know, on that. But what you're telling me is that leading up to that, an exact hour passed by. And you have to take note that these are two full power Super Saiyans. So it's not like this new rule that they stated when Vegito was battling Zamasu, fused Zamasu. They split early because of the key usage. Because it was just too much and was energy being used. No, there was not. The Super Saiyan Blue transformation is all about key control. They have a lot of power, but it's not just overflowing. This was stated, okay? How do you think Goku was able to use Kaioken when he was in his Super Saiyan Blue form? That's a form that he would never be able to use in any other Super Saiyan form because the intense strain would kill him. So there's no way you're gonna tell me, there's no way you're gonna pull a Dragon Ball GT and state that there's just so much energy overflowing. You know, Hey, back in Dragon Ball GT, where there's Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like the fusion's supposed to last 30 minutes, but it only lasts 15. You know, I can buy that because, you know, there's stipulations on Super Saiyan 4 that have been set, and it would make sense for that. Here, no. You can't. You can't, okay? You are not pulling a Dragon Ball GT on us. Now, one thing that I've been hearing a lot is that Gowasu has seen, like, non-Kais use the Potara earrings, and then he saw them split, which is, you know, how he knows. But, one, are you telling me the Elder Supreme Kai, who's probably older than Gowasu, didn't know this? Are we really gonna go down that route? Second, how does Gowasu exactly know about this? At what point would he have seen it, and at what point to really confirm this? So, no. Here's the thing. Now this basically means that Vegito is no different than Gogeta. You could have just brought Gogeta into this. Even though, granted, he's never been shown in any, like, canon setting, because, like, first you see him in Fusion Reborn as a Super Saiyan, then you see him in Dragon Ball GT as a Super Saiyan 4, and those are two non-canon sources, but Gogeta as a character is still very possible. And another thing is, what's with this new stipulation? This was only set so that Goku and Vegeta would not be permanently fused, but there's other ways to that. Like, because Kibito Kai defused to be separate Kibito and Kaioshin through a wish with the Dragon Balls. So, if there's an issue of Vegito being stuck, we can just wish them to be separate Vegeta and Goku again.
My boy, why are you wearing an earring? Give it to me!
Oh,
This will look much more seemly on a pretty girl like me.
you mustn't! Ah!
I don't get it. But even with as bad as that is, it's nowhere near as bad as Trunks beating fused Goku Black and Zamasu. No. Here's the thing. I ain't buying it, so don't sell it to me. Why am I not buying it? Trunks is a fucking golden hair Super Saiyan. We have moved way past that. Golden haired Super Saiyans shouldn't even pose any sort of a challenge to anyone. We've pretty much established that back when Goku got his ass handed to him while Super Saiyan 3 by Beerus. Because that's one thing that's really inconsistent. Even more so than that fusion thing I mentioned. The power scale. What the fuck is the power scale? Because one thing that we've seen is that Super Saiyan God is supposed to be leagues above all the other Super Saiyan transformations. And even when Goku was in that form and it ran out, he was still able to, like, retain the power itself. So, to be able to combat Beerus. And then we have Super Saiyan Blue, which is a mixture of the Super Saiyan transformation and the God Ki. So, like, what's the multiplier on that, first of all? Because one thing we do know is that it's incredibly strong. Though, not as strong as Beerus. So that makes you wonder, what's the multiplier? And also, when Goku puts Kaioken on top of that, come on, he's got to have surpassed Beerus by that point. So, we have all of these new forms being introduced. these new powers, new God Key, and you mean to tell me that Trunks is able to keep up with all of this? Despite not being a Super Saiyan God? Because first of all, a few episodes back, we see Trunks basically become what looks like a mixture of Super Saiyan 2, Legendary Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan Blue. What? What is this form? Where did he get it all of a sudden? How is he suddenly able to keep up with the likes of Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta? There's no way in hell. You mean to tell me a fusion of these two powerhouses didn't beat Zamasu, yet Trunks did? And also the way that he defeated him. Trunks pulls the biggest Deus Ex Machina I have ever seen in Dragon Ball. He basically performs the Spirit Bomb.
何これ？この光、トランクスと同じ色。
これはこの星に生きるみんなの木の光だ。感じるみんなの力を俺に貸してくれ。
How? You sure as hell never trained under King Kai, so there is no way in hell you can use a Spirit Bomb. No, no, no.
No. No.
But one thing you gotta understand is, like, one, he just pulled that power up completely out of his ass. Another thing is, remember when Goku used the Spirit Bomb to destroy Kid Buu? It took energy from the entire population of Earth to form enough power to destroy Buu. So that's billions of people that were needed for this. And now we have a fused Goku Black and Zamasu, who are leagues stronger than Buu, yet like the energy from about 30 people were enough to defeat Zamasu. Suck my balls. Trunks is an Uchiha. He is no different from the Uchihas. That might as well be his last name. He is pulling so many power-ups out of his ass, you'd think he'd have the Mangekyo Sharingan or some shit. Trunks just went full-on Uchiha on her.
この完成体スサノーだが奴はもういない。それもお前らにとってはかえってよかったと言えるかもしれない。なぜなら
The only reason he's getting these power-ups is because the plot demands him to. We've got to have him do something other than being useless, so they're just throwing all of these power-ups, throwing them all at him, giving him all of these power-ups just because he needs them at this point of the story, not because you guys have been building up to him getting this. So if Trunks was able to access this type of power to compete against gods, how come he couldn't pull this many rabbits out of his ass when he was combating androids 17 and 18? Now, I'm going to remind you of something. The androids 17 and 18 of Trunks' future timeline are actually weaker than the 17 and 18 in the mainstream timeline. Yet he couldn't pull the rabbit out of his ass to defeat them. He wasn't able to until he went for that year in the hyperbolic time chamber with Vegeta. That's when he became strong enough to destroy the androids on his own. So he had to work for that. And that's one other thing that I don't like about this future Trunks arc. Trunks, back in Dragon Ball Z, already had his happy ending. You know, when the androids were defeated, when Cell was defeated, once we gotten rid of all of those threats to the future, Trunks received his happy ending. We could have just ended it there. There was no need for this happy ending override. Because you're doing this and it makes for a very badly written story. And another thing is considering who his villain is. This is supposed to be Trunks' story, but this feels like a more personal battle for Goku because, well, the enemy is basically fucking Goku! Gah! So really, this is just a huge mistake on their part. There was no need for this arc. And especially not if you're gonna have Trunks pulling these Deus Ex Machinas out of his ass. I was watching a video the other day, and there was somebody who was saying that they actually kind of like this because it reminds them of, like, you know, those shoujo magical girl power-ups where, you know, suddenly, you know, power of friendship and whatnot gives you the power you need and all that shit. But no, that does not fit in Dragon Ball. This isn't a shoujo magical girl anime. This is a shonen action anime. So this power friendship bullshit and whatnot is just not gonna fly here. This is precisely the reason why I'm not a huge fan of Fairy Tail. I'm not gonna buy that all of you together gonna get your ass kicked by the villain, and then Natsu's gonna go up, and then suddenly I got the power of friendship, and then he oversized the villain. It's like, no. I don't buy that. Stop selling that shit to me. So really, and now it's gotten to the point where Zamasu actually becomes like an astral form. He's a shroud that's covering the earth and spreading out to the universe. But then, like, Goku calls Zeno from that time, but Zeno destroys everything. Oops. But they got out of there in time before he did. And then there's a lot of going back. There was a lot of, like, going back, getting Zeno from that time and then bringing him to the Zeno of the mainstream time and, you know, them becoming friends, and then that whole thing Whis talked about on how we could fix the future. I'm like, wow. Talk about Deus Ex Machinas, and the Dragon Balls weren't even needed to fix any damage. Oh my god. I gotta say, that was what really killed Dragon Ball Super for me. Any chance that I felt it had of really improving, it's gone at that point. Really, what has been the point of it as a series? Its plot isn't very coherent, and like that Frieza part doesn't even add to the story. It just seems like a bunch of random mess that Toei Animation and Akira Toriyama just threw together just to purely bank on nostalgia. But here's the thing. Once that nostalgia wears off, what are we left with? a mediocre show that doesn't even measure up to Dragon Ball GT. You know, everyone talks shit about Dragon Ball GT, even I do. But this is still a better series than Dragon Ball Super. I bought the complete series of this. I would never spend money on the complete series of Dragon Ball Super.
This is what I think of you.
So, what do you guys think about how Dragon Ball Super has played out resolving its Future Trunks arc? Do you think it's the biggest bullshit ever, or are you okay with it? Because I found one person that was. I highly disagreed with her, but you know, you have your opinions. So hey, let me know everything in the comments below. Also, be sure to like and subscribe for more content to come. Alrighty then, have a good day everyone. This is Trace signing out.